Welcome to the Digital Maddie Show with your host and host Miithyl, a pod made exclusively for solopreneurs, artists, and coaches who wants to build their digital empire. With 15 plus years of business experience, I cover topics on personal branding, content creation, and digital marketing on this show and invite many experts who share the same passion like mine. Today, we have an amazing guest on our show. I'm super excited to have her. Her name is Shini, and she has worked as a physiotherapist for over 17 years across clinical settings. Becoming a mental well being and a mental fitness coach was a gradual progression. Over the course of her practice, one of the things that stood out for her time and again was the need for preventive mental health care initiatives. Taking a preventive approach has more relevance today than ever before. So we have been witness on, to see like how the pandemic brought the global mental and emotional health crisis to the forefront. So it was a big part due to the widely prevalent resistance to dealing with day-to-day psychological as well as emotional health challenges that many across the world were brutally forced to confront. Addressing potential mental health concerns is where she wants to focus her efforts. Creating awareness and utilizing opportunities for advocacy will go a long way in enabling people to identify the risk factors as well as seek early interventions. New Ray Wellness was founded with a clear vision to bring focus to preventive mental health care, to enable conversations that create awareness as well as provide training and coaching for psychological well being, emotional resilience, and mental fitness. So, as a coach, the trajectory of her practice has originally shifted from working with founders, entrepreneurs, and executive leaders, as well as mental well being and mental fitness coaches. As a woman founder, she also remains committed to creating and building programs for women's wellness and empowerment. It is a vital part of the health and development of the families as well as communities. And I'm super excited. Without wasting much of our time, let's bring her onto the stage. None other than Shini. Hi, Shini.
Hi, Miithyl. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's great to be here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, Shini, can you share your backstory with us? The stage is all yours.
Right. So, Miithyl, it's been an 18-year journey for me working across clinical settings. I've consulted with hospitals, I've worked in rehabilitation services. Um, Along the way, I got an interesting opportunity back in 2012, 2013, I think. It was a wonderful job opportunity in Doha. And I was keen to take that on, but eventually it didn't pan out for personal reasons. But the silver lining there was that that entire episode unfolded in a way that kind of gave me the push and the clarity I needed, I think, to set up my own practice as a psychotherapist. Uh, Being a therapist has been, I think, challenging and also fulfilling in equal measure. There has been a lot of personal learning and growth along the way for me. Um, Come 2020, I think the first quarter when the pandemic hit India, I think it was literally overnight that work went online for so many people, and everybody was scrambling to, figure out the best way forward, given the quarantine restrictions in place, the health concerns and fears that we all had. Over the course of those 1.5 to 2 years, Mithil, there was a strong realization for me, a personal realization about the immense need and the gap there is for addressing the preventive aspect of mental well being. So, while there are enough and more professionals working in the curative space, and I was one of them as well, but mental well being was largely going ignored. And the entire duration of the pandemic, as we saw, it unfolded a health epidemic as well in so many parts of the world, not just here. I think partly because of my own health struggles during that time, and also the realization that realization of the need for preventive care in the mental health space, I took some time off to reevaluate and restructure the path forward for me professionally, the path that I wanted to take. And that is how I made the decision to transition to or switch over to the space of coaching. And I got my credentials as a health and wellness coach, with prime focus, of course, being on mental well-being because that is my background. Um, as I started coaching, a parallel path that opened up, I think, very organically for me was coaching for mental fitness also, along with wellness. And that is an area that I am so excited to work on now because this is with clients who are entrepreneurs and business owners and working in executive leadership roles. And the coaching process is very fun, and also it's an opportunity, it's a huge learning opportunity for me as well. Mental fitness is all about self acceptance, self esteem, resilience, the ability to manage strong emotions, emotional quotient, developing cognitive skills, neuroplasticity, all of that. And that's been the journey of transition for me, from a psychotherapist to a coach. And honestly, now that I've been coaching for a year, I founded Neuro Wellness back in 2022. And I've been coaching for a year now, and I feel the practice is so much more aligned to who I am also as a person. And I think it's worked out beautifully and just at the right time for me. So that's in a nutshell my story.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Shini, as you are a mental health coach, as per you, what is preventive mental health care and why is it that much important?
Okay, so Mithil, how there are many people we know and meet in our personal lives, and many people in society at large who have a history of mental health concerns. They have a genetic history, whether they like to address it or not, whether they like to acknowledge it or not, but it's there. Maybe somebody's parents struggle with depression, right? Maybe a parent or a grandparent struggled with alcohol addiction or any kind of substance addiction. Now, so given that genetic predisposition, are these people also destined to experience the same cycle because it's a part of their genetic makeup? It's it is a contributing factor for sure. But what can you do to prevent these concerns or these challenges from surfacing for these people, given that there is a genetic predisposition there? And mental health is, I think, so many aspects of our lives: our emotions, our relationships, our the stress levels and how we cope with them. Prevention is the act of, I think, intentionally working to stop something before it develops or before it starts. That is what working in the preventive capacity means. So, just like, we can take an example of construction workers, how they lay a strong foundation before they build houses, so that there is, so that any structural problems don't arise when people start living in that house. So, similarly, a preventive space for mental well being, um, I think, is so essential because we all know now our mental health affects our physical health directly, which affects our social health. And social
Totally agree.
health will again impact our mental health. So, it is a triangle, and all three of these dimensions, we can say, or all three of these parts of health as a whole need to be given equal focus and attention.
Absolutely.
So, preventive mental health care, when we speak about preventive mental well being or health care, it involves anything and everything we can do to limit or reduce the incidence rate, the prevalence rate, and also reoccurrence if a problem or a concern has already happened. So it doesn't resurface again in the future.
Agree.
And preventive care is both on a personal level and on a societal level. So there are, of course, things we do to support our own mental health and of our, let's say, our family or our friends. But on a large scale, large organizations or governments Also work on a societal level, creating advocacy, creating awareness to promote mental well-being. There are many such programs that happen as part of societal change as a whole, which is that is what preventive mental health care is. And the benefits, why does it really make a difference to focus effort on the preventive aspect of mental health? Because human beings, we are you know biopsychosocial beings, which essentially means that our physical health will impact our psychological health, just like we discussed right now, which impacts our social health. So all three of these factors, they have to be taken into consideration before we can call ourselves healthy. And there are some very practical benefits if you think about what preventive mental health care does. So there is, of course, decreased cost of treatment, because a person who's not mentally sound or mentally well will take a long time from recovering, a long time to recover from physical ailments also, right? Let's say if somebody has an onset of depression, or if somebody has very high anxiety, that is definitely going to impact their physical recovery if they are suffering from a physical concern. It improves performance at work, it improves performance in school, in academics. And it also provides, I think, greater social support. When you're mentally well, there is more social support that also comes together. So those are the immediate, I think, or the very obvious benefits of preventive aspect of well-being, mental well-being.
Wow. I mean, like, this is very crucial. It's very important. Uh, like, people say to be sane, but it's like a mask people wear on a daily basis, where in order to just survive in the society, they tend to show that they are sane, but deep inside, I think many of them go through a lot of challenges. uh, and it is very important to even address your mental health, not just to be sane, but also to create a better society, as well as kind of, pass on a good knowledge to the next generation. Otherwise, I don't, like, most of the movies where zombies are shown, I don't think it's going to be a very far side where they can be a possibility very soon.
No, you're very right, Mithil. That's such an important point, I feel, because as parents, we know children are always watching us. Our children, they learn from our behaviors. They learn from the way we talk, with the way we handle situations, even the way we handle our daily stresses. And if we are overwhelmed, what are we doing about that overwhelm? Are we dealing with it constructively, or are we taking it out on someone else? And those are the behaviors they emulate and they learn from, and those are the behaviors that can very well part of become a part of their personality as well. So you're very right. I think it's so important to be aware of our own emotions, what we are feeling. For example, if I come and tell you, Mithil, I'm feeling so bad today, I have had a horrible day. Now when I say I'm feeling bad, what does it actually mean? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling sad? Or am I feeling, maybe I'm just hungry and that is impacting my emotional state? Or maybe I'm just feeling envious of somebody. So breaking it down to the baser emotions and understand exactly what we are feeling, it's such an essential part of well-being, because you can tackle it only when you know first of all what's going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Totally agree with you, Shini. So, Shini, you also beautifully covered in this particular aspect, where a kind of, I would say, lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the genetic markup of the earlier generation, because we see and we grow in that way. But
Yeah.
again, I have read somewhere about lifestyle medicine. So, as
Yes.
per you, what is the role of a lifestyle medicine in fostering both the mental, which has a direct relation to the physical well-being also? So, for both, well, mental as well as for, well, I mean, physical well-being,
Mhm.
how or what is the role of lifestyle medicine?
Lifestyle medicine, Mithil, has such importance, not just today, it's always had great importance. And I think over the years, like in our grandparents and our great grandparents' time, these things were naturally available to them. There was a lot of physical labor, no matter what work you did. There was a lot of physical labor that was involved in things. People used to walk a whole lot. The stress levels were largely much lesser. um, the nutrition aspect was great. Food was not as toxic, air was not as toxic. It was clean food, clean air, clean water, and health behavior overall. I think has such a profound impact on um, mortality, or how we develop comorbidities. Ajkal, everybody today you meet has two or three chronic conditions. Somebody will have an autoimmune and diabetes, somebody will have hypertension and diabetes, or XYZ. Almost everyone you meet, regardless of their age, very young people also today are developing cardiac issues. So where is that coming from? um, Making use of medicine and the impact it can have on our overall health system is, that alone should provide enough motivation to people to be more considerate and be more mindful of these things. The lifestyle medicine has, the pillars, as we call it, of lifestyle medicine is your nutrition and hydration, the quality of your sleep, um, physical exercise, whether there is any intake of risky substances or not, like any kind of alcohol or substance dependence, um, our stress levels and how we manage them. These are the core pillars of lifestyle medicine. And uh, I think they are, if you speak to doctors also, like let's say we go in for a checkup to a doctor, this is the first line of treatment also. Your doctor will always ask you, okay, tell me about your food intake, what kind of food are you eating, how much water are you drinking, right? XYZ. So it's also the first line of treatment. And there is enough research to show that just by making alterations in lifestyle, a lot of chronic ailments show significant improvement, and people even get off medication. For example, hypertension, for example, type 2 diabetes. Um, there are cases of people who've gone off medication just because of a lifestyle change. So that is how important it is. And um, I think a very, very high percentage of medical consultations and also mental health consultations. So, both doctors who are dealing with the physiological aspect of illness and the psychological aspect of illness. I think a high percentage of those consultations go back to, conditions that have arisen because the lifestyle is not properly maintained. That is how fundamentally important it is. And unfortunately, while we all have this knowledge सबके पास है, but not too many people are implementing it, unfortunately.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And in this fast pace of life, people are somewhat in a race for, I don't know where they want to reach or what is the finish line.
Hmm.
And that in due course of time, the decisions that they take
Mhm.
on a daily basis define the path, and that is slowly creating a kind of a lifestyle disease. And so there is a lifestyle disease as well as a lifestyle medicine, and both basically boils down to the habits which they do it on a daily basis. So it's very
Absolutely,
crucial, and habits are basically directly related to mental well-being.
for sure. Also, your physical well-being.
True, true, absolutely, absolutely. So everyone who have an idea to become a coach, like,
Mhm.
I am a coach, I have interviewed so many people who are coaches, I have trained many people to become coach. So
Mhm.
one thing I have seen, that each of the coaches who wants to become a coach
Mhm.
and want to create a kind of beacon of light in many people's life,
Right.
They want to create a kind of an impact. And I,
Right.
in most cases, I ask this question to almost all the coaches. So I'll ask you also,
Mm-hmm.
what impact are you looking to make as a coach?
I think coaching in any space. You are a coach. I'm a coach. We have worked with various coaches who come or who address different nature of concerns. I think coaching has been proven to lead to such a. I'll speak of my my own field. Coaching in the mental health space, or even life coaching skills, for that matter, they lead to such a wide range of positive well-being outcomes. uh, Developing resilience, developing better stress management or coping with stress techniques, better engagement, social engagement, engagement at work, professional, work satisfaction, positive emotions, because positive psychology is such an important part of what I do as well. I think also developing a sense of meaning and goal attainment. So a very big part of my work is um, in the mental fitness space. When I work with business founders and entrepreneurs, there is a lot of focus on finding your why. I mean, we put so much focus on what are the things we are going to do, how are we going to do them, when are we going to do them. But the realization, I think, of if you don't know your why, or if your why is not strong enough, any change that you're trying to make, no matter how much effort you put into it, it'll not be sustainable.
Absolutely.
Because that motivation to make that change has to come from within. It has to be really important to who you are. So that's a big part. And like one of the first steps for me is always to determine the why, and also determine the context. Where is that person coming from? What are the changes they're looking to make? Why are they looking to make those changes? How important it is to them? Understanding the context. And again, the preventive well-being aspect has, broadly, it can be categorized into primary, secondary, and tertiary. So coaching typically comes in the primary and the secondary level.
Absolutely.
So again, determining, whether a client who's coming to me is falling in the primary space or the secondary space. um, so yeah, I think identifying that, and then sort of chalking a path or creating a roadmap forward for my client. Uh, Also, because I'm a therapist, a lot of the modalities that I use as a coach are evidence based.
Okay.
So because I have that background in the and the academic training, the practical training of having worked as a therapist for that long. These are evidence-based modalities. So all the tools and techniques are aimed at addressing internal and systemic factors that impact the client's not only well-being, also where they want to get eventually. Why are they coming to me as a coach?
Okay. Nice. So thank you, Shini. With this, we come to the end of the phase one,
Okay.
and phase two is all about rapid fire round, where I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Won't give you time to think. Whatever the first thing comes in your mind, you have to share it with us.
Oh
So
my
are you
God.
ready?
Okay. Okay. All right. I think I am. Okay. Go for it.
Awesome. So let me just zoom a little bit to create a little bit of an intensity. All right. So the very first question is, what is the one thing that you would like to put in your bucket list in 2023?
Skydiving.
Wow. Wow. Nice. Who do you admire the most?
Who do I admire the most? I think I would have to say, who do I admire? There's a whole long list of people, but if I had to pick one person, I think I admired my grandfather a whole lot. He's not with us anymore, but if I had to pick just one person, so many aspects of his personality. Uh,
Awesome. Awesome. Uh, what's your who is your favorite cartoon character and why?
my favorite cartoon character is Pink Panther, um, because the way the character was drawn out in the animation series. It was a curious character. It was always exploring, also playing pranks on people, pretty much what I am like as a person. Also, Pink Panther has an association with, I think, cancer awareness programs as well. The whole pink ribbon aspect of it, and I have been not in a very large capacity, but I have been involved in that space at some level. So that's, I think, another reason.
Awesome, awesome. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Um, Curious, um, fearless, and I think a realist. I was going to say optimist, but I chose realist.
Nice. And we come to the last question, and that's who is your favorite superhero and why?
Favorite superhero, I think, would have to be Superman or Batman. No, Batman.
Nice. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, Shini, I loved the rapid fire round, and like you did wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Am
So,
I
Shini,
getting a hamper for it or something?
no, we are not on a coffee show. Okay. So, all right. So, all the people who wants to listen, like who are listening to this particular episode, if
Mhm.
they wish to connect with you and try to know more about their own mental health, how
Sure.
can they connect with you?
I think the best way to connect with me, Mithil, is on email. I'm fairly prompt on email. I have shared, I think, both my email IDs with you. Those are available. I can still verbalize them. It's shinisahni@gmail.com and neurwellness@gmail.com. Another platform that I typically don't use social media, but a platform I'm very active on is LinkedIn. That's another, it's a good platform to get in touch with me. Um, yeah, I think those would be great options.
Awesome. So you will find all the links below. Do connect with Shini, and she is a brilliant person. I know her, and would love for you to connect with her and know more about your mental well-being and how to create more synergies out of it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So Shini, what is the one message who you would like to give to all our listeners before we end this particular episode?
Um, a message, Mithil, I think for me, it's always, I would want to put out a message of optimism and hope for the future, especially, in our society, there's so much stigma surrounding mental health, which stops a lot of people from seeking the help that they really need. um, it will not only improve their productivity in life and in work, but also improve their relationships, improve their quality of life and the way they navigate through it. um, so that's my message. Mental health is just as important as physical health. Without mental health there is no physical health, and without physical health there is no mental health. It's so interlinked. um, so that re- recognizing that, acknowledging that, and taking active steps to address all the aspects of well-being, all the aspects of developing and maintaining good health, that would be my message. And I think it's so needed and it's so important. And a very recent crisis, the pandemic, has showed us how important it is.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Shini. Would love to have you again on the show, and would love to go deeper into the topic of mental health, because it's a whole big ocean, and it is the more we discuss, it is like we cover the lesser part of it. We have to go more deeper into it, so I would love to have you once again onto the show. But for today, thank you so much for taking your valuable time coming over here and sharing a few of the insights on about mental well-being and many things which we covered in today's episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mithil. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, for making me so comfortable. You're a great host. And I would love to be back and have another conversation with you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you have just listened to the Digital Maddie Show with your host Mithil. Thank you so much for listening to our show and giving so much love. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on the podcast channel that you are listening to, whether it is Apple Podcast or Spotify. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. This is Mithil signing off along with Shini. At the moment, until next time, meet you soon with another guest and their exciting stories. But until then, keep rocking, stay safe, and don't forget to keep creating content. Ciao.